Hello, and welcome to the podcast that discusses all things gaming. Coming to you from the home of Indie PopCon, Gen Con, and the gaming capital of the world, we are The Established Facts.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Established Facts. This is your host Big Don, and we are still here having a really good time at PopCon Indy 2019. We have a really cool episode for you today, episode 201. We're going to be talking with some new friends and kind of telling you about some of the ins and outs of what's going on here in the Midwest area as far as new creative content. But before we do that, let's go ahead and introduce everyone who is at the table, and I will start to my left.
This is Josh.
My name is Rachel Madison.
This is Demetrius Witherspoon.
My name is Darrell Miller.
And I, again, am your host, Big Don. All right, so as you heard, we have some new people at the table, which is really exciting for me. A couple of people that I've been following for a while, one of which I've known for a few years, and the other one I've known of for several years as well, and kind of gotten a chance to watch some of their creative ventures, and a new friend. So, Demetrius, could you kind of introduce yourself and why we should know you?
I don't know why you shouldn't really know me, but you should know my IP of Submerge. Actually, I'm a local writer and director of a sci-fi series, award-winning sci-fi series called Submerge. And we've just been building it over the last 6 years, coming from the films, 5 films, and now we have a card game that's coming out based off of one of the films, and also the comic book has just now come out, and we have some other comic books that are based on the franchise. And we have a feature film that we're going to start on next year with actors from Netflix. We have Jerry Beasley from Batwoman on CW, and many other folks that we'll be working with. And the lovely Rachel Madison is playing 51X, which is an android. She's been in Blue Star that we just shot, and she's going to be in the feature film.
Well, and since you brought her up, the lovely Rachel Madison, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of the things that you've been working on?
So again, my name is Rachel Madison. I am a local makeup artist, body painter, and kind of actress model. I started doing more of the kind of the makeup art and the body paint and the face paint when I was about 14, 15, and kind of fell in love with it and decided, you know what? This is the only thing that I've ever fallen in love with that much, and decided to make a career out of it. So here we are.
Very cool. Now, just to kind of give us a little bit of perspective, how did you meet Demetrius and start working with the Submerge brand?
Where did we meet, Demetrius? We met at a fashion show, wasn't it? Yeah, it was a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Actually, I sent out a ploy when I was filming Submerge Echo 51, I think it was, for a makeup artist, and her name popped up, but I didn't see the face or anything, and so I was filming a fashion show, and I met her, and then her mother was like, I've contacted you on Facebook, but we weren't able to do, help you out with makeup. And so that was kind of when we first kind of met, and then we ended up doing a commercial together.
Yeah,
That's
I think that was
awesome.
the first thing we did together. Our first project was the perfume commercial we filmed, which
That's
was
cool.
amazing.
Yeah.
That was kind of my acting debut.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then she did so good because I created this character for this. I have a perfume oil, Submerge 51 perfume oil, which we've been selling. It's unisex. And so Rachel came on board, and I created this character because I already have a male 51 android, and I was like, well, you're going to be the 51 female version of that. And then we it worked so good that I was like, okay, 51X, and here goes your story, and we're putting you in the films now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So just kind of a relationship that turned into a creative addition to something that you had already been working on.
Right.
That's very cool.
For sure.
That's very cool. Now, of course, I tried to do my job as a host and did a little digging. Good stuff. All good stuff. IMDb is always my friend when it comes to these kind of interactions. And it was great because I got a chance to see some of the stuff that you've done before, Demetrius. And then I tried to look up Rachel, and I was like, no, I need more information. So Rachel, if you don't mind me asking, are you local to the Indiana area?
Yes, I am local to, I guess, Indiana. I kind of travel all over Indiana and the Midwest area in general. Kind of Cincinnati, Louisville, Chicago, kind of back and forth a little bit.
Gotcha.
For now, anyways, eventually I would love to expand kind of my brand and my business outside of the Midwest into New York, LA, and kind of work with bigger projects and different people and kind of expand in that way. But yeah, local for now.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. I like that. All right. And then our third guest with us is Darrell Miller.
Yes.
Darrell, you and I met, I don't know if you remember exactly, but you and I met when one of my other best friends and I were working on a card game.
Yes, Alan.
Yes, and we were working on Nightfall, and I think we met at a game store.
Jade.
And we met through a mutual friend, Jade, and kind of hit it off and had a really good time. And I've been following you and Demetrius on Facebook with just a lot of your projects because what some people on the podcast may or may not know, recently I got into doing stage acting, and a lot of the people that I've done a couple of musicals with, Jerry Beasley, and a few other people who have actually come in and out of our Breakfast Anytime improv / acting workshops. Sarah, what is Sarah's last name? Colinda?
Yes.
Yeah. She's been in one of our classes before, and
She's great.
She's
amazing.
She is a pistol.
Positive,
She is a
She's
pistol.
amazing.
She worked hard.
Oh yeah,
Like,
but it was really cool, like being able to see like kind of friends or at least acquaintances from like a distance, but then also getting a chance to really see what you guys were doing. And you've been working on your Paragenics project,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
And I think I just saw today on Facebook, which I guess today is subjective because we're at PopCon, and this episode may come out a few weeks from now. But you had a video of, was it you doing like a fighting scene?
Nah, that was a scene that we did in the alley downtown. Me
Okay.
and my character and the other guy that's getting a fight with superpowers. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about who Darrell Miller is and what you're working on.
Okay, Darrell, well, myself, I'm about to be 28, June 18. I suffer from mental illness or like PTSD, so I always wanted to do things that inspire people that deal with like mental illness and deal with like depression, anxiety, and stuff like that. So after again now, therapy and counseling, going to like what you call that, the homes and stuff like that where they take care. My mission was to be a positive role model and to help those to feel like I'm a nobody or I can't do this or I'm not as smart as people. So I wanted to create that type of image in my project. So I was like, what can we do to be our own superhero, our own thing? So I was like, Paragenics, and what made me think of that name was, I was like, what's different than the norm? Because I know superheroes big, but you've seen it so much and it's like repetitive or,
Right.
With DC and Marvel, and I
Right.
love them both. But I was like, what can make us stand out? So I was like, I want to do a Midwest thing because I barely seen anything Midwest
Right.
besides like Chicago or Ohio.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm going to do it in Indiana and then spread out. So I was
Sure.
like, what can be something our own that we can build from? So I was like, what's something creative? I was thinking aliens, about like it's been done before, Demetrius, everybody,
Right.
aliens. So
Signs.
you don't want to.
Everybody's seen
you don't wanna,
Signs,
So
right.
they were like, you kind of copy. So I was like, I'm gonna do the paranormal thing because I haven't
Yeah.
seen something like that. Like I'm a fan of thriller and horror films. So
Yeah.
like Jason and Freddy, you never
yeah.
heard how they got their powers. You just know.
Right.
So I was like, what if we took it a step further of showing how it could happen by introducing a paranormal and giving certain people superpowers that can go up against evil threats like that. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
So I was like, well, para and then genes, because when that happens, you change your body, so
Right.
it changes you. So I was like, just the genes. And then my best friend, he like, I put the X. I was like, I didn't want to be like X-Men. Because that would have like, it would have been X. So I was like, well, just put it all together.
Yeah.
I was like, Paragenes. I was like, that's a good title now.
I like
you know
it.
what I'm saying?
I'm not gonna lie. I really, when I saw that, I was like, man, that's a really cool name,
Yeah.
like Paragenics. And I feel like even if you don't know anything about what you are working on with the idea of superheroes that
Right.
have they get these powers not through an inherent mean,
Right.
like with their actual genes, like an X-Man or someone
Yes,
like that, or a
exactly.
strange science project like an
Right.
Avenger or something like that. But the idea that they inherit these through the connection of the paranormal,
Yes.
and just the name Paragenics, I'm like, wow, that's really like. I really want to know, what is that? Like, what is going on with that?
Yeah.
Which is kind of my next question. With Paragenics,
Yes.
where do you want to see Paragenics go? Because you're in the middle of filming and you're doing a
Yeah.
lot of really cool
Yeah.
creative stuff with it. What do you want to see come out of it?
Well, right now we working on a board game that because Alan and working with y'all
Right.
on that, so I decided I want to do, because I want to be a bigger brand, and just for the Midwest period, because like I said, I want to have something that the Midwest can have, and not only that, because people can't travel to LA, New York, and all these big locations. So I wanted to create a project, these series, the little mini web series where people that's amateurs or people that's new, makeup artists or new whatever can learn about filmmaking
Sure.
and be part of something fun, because superheroes is supposed to be fun.
Right.
So we want to create Paragenics where throughout Midwest there'll be another story. So
Sure.
Chicago, Ohio, Kentucky, any Midwest area, I want to open my project
Right.
to, and say you could do your own spinoff that connects with our world, where it's a bigger brand, is this universal family, and you could just do something creative with it. What would you do with a paranormal type powers and storyline, and then we all be a big family that grows to say, this is something unique, because I haven't seen it. DC haven't done it, Marvel haven't done it, because
Yeah.
they contain it in New York or they contain it in Gotham or something like that. But I never seen it in a big region of like a big, whatever. And I was like, even though I'm broke and I don't have money, but I know people
You know
that
what?
don't have money but want that opportunity to be
Yeah.
a part of something like this. So this is what we want to take in. This is what we're going to take it, because I'm already talking to somebody from Ohio, and
Yeah.
they're already back to work on Ohio part of Paragenics. So it's putting on places with the right people that understand what we're trying to do.
That's cool.
And be a positive thing, you know what I mean? Because I want people to be like, I remember my first gig at Paragenics. I remember that I got this opportunity to be an extra or be a,
Right.
makeup artist, whatever. And so like that. And the good thing is that my location where I can really travel an hour or 45 minutes away without, going to a plane or
Right.
anything like that, spending
Right.
so much money.
So you'd like to see Paragenics become more than just the title of a comic book or a
Yes.
game or a couple of shorts. You'd
Yes.
like to see it become kind of an umbrella brand.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
have little offshoots in different markets around the Midwest and things like that. That's really cool. I
Don,
really like that.
Don, you better be careful, because this might actually start looking like you planned this.
He is, hey.
I got notes, bro. I got notes for days.
Hey.
I actually woke up real early today, and I was like, you know
appreciate
what? I'm really excited about these interviews. I'm going to sit down and put some work in it. And
Well, it's not just that. You can think about it with Demetrius and Rachel, a established and developing brand in the Midwest, and Daryl with a brand that wants to be developed in the Midwest. It's almost like they,
well, and they knew each other before me, so I can't take any credit for that. They knew each other before
I
me.
have to say, though, that the idea of a superpowered paranormal person from Kentucky sounds like a sitcom.
Hey man, him and that turbocharger. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Where's that Mew Mew thing? Man, you're gonna knock out somebody. Yeah. Well, so I feel like this is a really good opportunity for us to talk about. I feel like, and Joshy and I, we do improv together, and I've done some stage stuff, and we've gotten a chance to meet some really awesome people that are extremely creative.
Right.
And you all are included in that group of people. And I don't mean just now. I mean, these are things, I'm only identifying something that you have already been a part of.
Right.
But for people who may not know who you guys are, it was important for me because Josh and I have always been about promoting local for sure, and promoting creative people who want to see a positive spin on things. I also love to see people who take an idea and turn it into their own glorious blossom of whatever it is. Like it's just something that I enjoy seeing when people find inspiration in a board game and they go, I can create a board game almost like that with a few different tweaks and it looks like this. Like I love being able to inspire other people to do things with whatever that creativity is. I would like for all of us who have a little bit of input on that, just to kind of talk a little bit about what you guys are addressing is the beginning of what I feel like is a really cool creative renaissance in the Midwest. You know, Stranger Things is huge.
Yes.
And its setting is in Indiana, which I think is phenomenal. One of the major reasons why I watch it. The second of which they play Dungeons and Dragons. The third is that it's just a really cool story.
But when you want them to shoot actually here, so
but that's what I'm saying. Exactly. So there have actually been some really cool legislations in Indiana that are trying to kind of get pushed through with our General Assembly in adding a tax incentive for creative people to do movies and different things like that. I don't know if it's been addressed yet in the General Assembly, but I know that there was a huge push, I think a summer or two ago, where a lot of people who were local artists doing movies and acting and things like that kind of put together a really cool, like, hey, vote for this, or talk to your local district legislature to vote for this kind of tax credit thing, because it's going to help. It's going to not only is it going to help people who are not in Indiana, but moreover, it's going to help the people that are already here doing that work, because you guys are the people who are going to push for that to say, like, we don't need a Warner Brothers studio, we don't need a Universal studio, we don't need Disney to show up in Indiana. We already have that talent here.
Exactly.
We just need something to help boost that.
Right.
So what I would like is maybe just kind of an idea of some of the things you would like to all see to encourage the growth in that in Indiana and in the Midwest. I know Chicago is kind of a bigger market because it's just Chicago. When you look at it compared to LA, New York, you know, that kind of thing. So what are some of the things that you guys creatively would like to see across the board when it comes to those sort of ventures here in Indiana?
I'm sorry.
No, I'm thinking
Did he
about
throw
it.
you a
No.
deep
That's
question?
all right.
No, yeah, I'm just thinking about it for.
What sort of donuts do you like at Long's? That might be an easier one. The yeast. Those are the only ones, right? Those are the only ones they have?
No,
that's cake.
I do like the idea of kind of building up the industry more in Indiana and the Midwest in general, because I think on the whole, I feel like that's part of the reason why a lot of people want to get out.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to go to New York, to LA, and although, yes, there are so many opportunities there in bigger communities, I feel like we also need to build that within each other too. Because, of course, I would love to go to LA, I would love to go to New York, but I would also love to work here too and kind of travel throughout and know that we have work, we have good, talented people here and a good community of people. And I feel like with LA, everybody's, I don't know how to say this, kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like there's as good of a community of good people.
I agree.
Of, you know, down to earth, good, reliable people as there are in the Midwest, which is something that I absolutely love here. So,
go ahead. No, you guys go ahead.
Go?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've got 200 episodes of my voice on this podcast. Nobody wants to hear me talk anymore.
But just like Rachel said, it is like we need something as well. Like, I think we get overlooked a lot, you know, especially when it comes to Indiana or the Midwest. Like, we got so much talent. A lot of people work hard, even on a low budget scale. Like, I feel like even while I watch Netflix shows or whatever, I'm like, something that cool, but what if you brought that for people here? We can show you what we can do with that money and stuff like that. And that's why I think, like, me, Demetrius, and Rachel and stuff, bringing out project to show we can do this, you know what I mean? With no money now. Think about you put a little bit behind us or a couple million.
It's the passion behind it.
And you got to have passion.
It's huge.
Because when I look at movies, I critique movies and stuff like that, but you look at it like, really, they writing like that? Who let you pass on that, like, type stuff? It's like, we need to get better at this, but it's not too much, like, competition-wise. It's just a respect level you should have in our community. I feel like they need to do for us. That's why we want to push this, like, you gonna respect us. either you gonna gently open that door,
That's it.
or we gonna either knock it down and invite ourselves in, or we gonna create one. I always tell people it's two things. People don't open doors for you. Better go next door and create one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just don't be mad. Just show like why they should mess with you. Why you deserve the type of at least a shot at it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's what I believe.
Well, I just want to say that most definitely the tax incentives would help, but creatives and things are happening that people don't even know of. Hollywood movies are being shot here, even though we don't have the tax incentive. So if people go look up Columbus, which was shot in Columbus, Indiana, stars from Star Trek were in it, and it's on Hulu and Amazon, all those different places. The Good Catholic, which had Danny Glover in it, and some of Julie Powers worked on, and Nate Savage. That was shot in Bloomington. So things are happening. We don't want to. I mean, a lot of people don't know that, and so the no tax incentive is not stopping everything from happening.
Sure.
Pegasus, the studio, they're doing awesome with what they're bringing to Bloomington, and they did the Good Catholic with so many actors, and like I said, Danny Glover was in that. So the thing is, I've met people that have done 37 feature films, and they live right here in Indiana.
Yeah.
So, they're doing it here, but then they'll work in Chicago and just come back here, or there is a young lady that she works on Jurassic Park, but she lives here.
Yeah.
Okay, so those things are happening. We just got to think outside the box, and it can happen here. We got those talented people, and they want to support the talent that is here in Indiana and the Midwest. And I've met them, and I know that's what they want to do, because I've been lent a whole truck full of the equipment that I needed to make my films. And so from those people that want to help the community, the arts, make it happen right here. And so that's something we can kind of look at, and it's about, again, a community thing of working together and networking and pulling people like you are working with people in Cincinnati and things like that. That still works, for Indiana. And like Rachel was saying, the way our community is, so, everybody's down to earth pretty much more, more than other places. That works because we have more opportunity. L.A. and Atlanta and all those places are so full. Everybody's chucking to be, the next big star, or there are stars there that... the Midwest, we have some opportunities. There's less things. When you come and go into a store and say, "Can I film here? I'm a filmmaker," and we'll promote you. Oh my God, come on in.
Absolutely.
If you did that in LA, well, okay, you need to sign this. And
do you have all these permits? And
right,
absolutely,
right. And so to a point, the Midwest is a. It's kind of an open ticket or something that we can use, and we can still kind of build from that. But I'm not to say that Atlanta and all those other places are not the place. I mean, the place you can get a little bit more opportunity, but there's so many people fighting for it. Yeah. So why not create it and do it here?
Exactly.
I was going to speak on that just a little bit too. When Rachel was talking about the big markets of New York and L.A. and Atlanta and stuff, and it seems to me, since Josh and I got into doing improv acting 4 years ago, and I got into doing stage acting 2 years ago. Now, I've been a vocal performer since I was 5. Being on a stage is not new to me. Performing in front of people is not new to me. Holding the attention of a crowd is really just gives me the adrenaline rush that I always want. But what I have noticed is, regardless how much talent I have, I don't have a Demetrius Witherspoon. I don't have a Rachel Madison. I don't have a Darrell Miller, because that's who you are. And I think it's really interesting how many amazingly talented people I have gotten to meet, and Josh and I have gotten to meet in just doing improv for 4 years, and how many people they know that I know. Like, it's really, when you said networking, I really want you to speak a little bit on that, because I feel like that really is kind of the push that this Midwest market in general needs, is to open up people's eyes to, look, your neighbor, they are fantastic vocalists, and they need to be on the musical track of this movie that I'm doing, and things like that.
Right. I think the first thing is, and that goes for music or whatever platform we're going to in entertainment and the arts, your name is very important, no matter what, and it's important not to burn any bridges, and the other point of that is the communities are small.
Yeah.
Everything's interactive, and to the point, especially entertainment, once with social media, you're connected to the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so that even widens the gap on that. So just like what you did, you looked us up, right?
Absolutely.
To look up. So that's important. What your name and your brand, what you're putting out there, is very important. And so I've ran across it, and it's just part of the the business. You find people that they talk a lot of things or what have you, but their name is so. If I asked another person, it's like, no,
don't work with that.
Don't work with that person.
Josh and I have worked with people like that.
Yeah.
It's ironic because even just in the gaming arena, there are people that people who have bad life choices and attitudes are everywhere.
Yeah.
And you find that no matter what arena you're in.
Right.
But it's interesting because I was working on, very quickly, an anecdote. I was working on a play, or I was auditioning for a play. And everybody who was in the lobby was just super into themselves, and they're super this is the first audition I'd ever done, for a musical, and everybody's, oh, well, I was in this, and I was on that, and da-da-da-da-da, and I've never done a musical before, and I've been a vocal performer since I was 5, and I'm like, I'm 32,
right,
and I've never done this before, and I'm excited, and I'm nervous, and I sat next to this one single guy who was sitting there looking through his sides and kind of just going over the lines and stuff like that, and we started a conversation. It was like all of a sudden it became a completely different environment because the two of us were just talking like human beings should be talking,
Right.
and then before I knew it, there were 4 other people sitting around us, and we were all just talking, and you still had those people who were just into themselves and doing, but to me, what's more important is when you're, and I feel like this translates on the stage and on the camera,
Right.
the relationships that you build with the people that aren't there are what's more important.
Exactly.
When you're doing a feature-length movie, you may be doing the same scene 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 times,
Right.
but you're only talking about an hour of your life.
Right.
What's going to happen for the next 6 hours that you're not doing something?
Exactly.
Right.
You're trying to build those connections and those communications with people, and I feel like, even though, and this again is something that Josh and I have figured out, even though the movie media world in Indiana seems to be a little more, maybe not small, but just mysterious. Like it's kind of still cloak and dagger almost. Like, you do movies in Indiana? People do movies in Indiana?
Yeah, because when I film, like, people be shocked that we film it. Like, I had times where literally, like, kids, when we was downtown, like, kids just, like, running and stuff, and they're checking us out while we film. I'm like, that's cool, but I was like, dang, y'all don't actually see this a lot, do y'all? And then they just, just be mesmerized. Even grown-ups be like, oh, y'all filming here? What y'all doing? And people stop us for a minute, like, what y'all doing? Can I follow y'all? You know
it's
what I'm
not
saying?
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow. And then it's just amazing, like, that will say, like, it's important for people like us to speak on this and to get people aware so they know what to invest their time into or money. And that's something we need to ask as filmmakers sometimes. What do you people like? Because y'all are people. That's you are community. So we got to also build relationships with people that's not filmmakers or whatever, like, so we can build it up in a proper way so people will like, they the next big thing, or they somebody we should, you know, work with in our community as far as like the Midwest or Indiana goes and stuff like that. Why we need to ask, why will you spend that $10 on a theater when you spend like $5 or less on your own community stuff and build that up? Like, what's the difference? I know they celebrities and done stuff, but what's the difference between them and us, or why you spend so much on that and not with us that's trying to build something for our people and stuff like that? And I think we need to really touch on that and, you know, talk about it at least, you know what I mean?
I think people are always fully aware of what, you know, the Midwest and India especially has to offer. And so they don't invest in that. They don't really pay attention to it because they have no idea. So I feel like we need to build up an even bigger platform as much as we can so that people are more aware, so that we get more funding and we get more supporters and we get more people in general on board. Yeah,
I think that's marketing is key. So I think that's our issue too, is marketing. I think as in tackling like for the viewer's sake, you know, because you could be scrolling, you on social media, you be like, this don't look at too good to me, so I'm gonna go past it. You know what I mean? So I think marketing tactics, showing people like teasers, little things to get them hyped about what is this, like you saying, mystery, intriguing. We have to figure out ways as the filmmakers as to how we're gonna push this, so people can even give us a chance and opportunities. So it's just those creativeness. And maybe even speaking out to the community, or just doing little videos. Hey, we on the set, boom, 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 doing this, and just talk about your home team. You know, everybody behind the set, have everybody post. And problems sometimes too, actors don't do this as much. I don't know if it's because in their contract, but don't post the project, you know, as much as like a filmmaker. And I think that's something it needs to change as well.
Everything is so close vested.
Yeah,
you know, when you're that's one thing that, you know, about those bigger markets that I feel like. I know Tom Holland gets into trouble a lot of times because he accidentally has spoilers about the movie and stuff, and I understand that. But what's crazy to me is he's excited about these projects.
Exactly, and
he
people
wants
love
people
that.
to go and see him.
That's
He's
the
enthusiastic,
thing. And that's what you want. I think people more intrigued of how excited you are. Is it just a project, or just something you really putting your heart into it? This something like what's behind this? People want to know behind the scenes. You know what I mean? People want to know the good and the bad of the things, whether it's, you know, which I do daily, schedule, bad scheduling, or, you know, rainy days, how y'all deal with things that don't always go your way, or how y'all deal with when your cast is together. Do you treat people right? Do y'all have fun and do snack stuff like normal people? You know what I mean? How do y'all act?
So I think a lot of that has to do with what the professional wrestling business recently deemed the reality era. Due to reality TV and stuff along those lines. People are obsessed with seeing what goes on behind closed doors.
And
I think that can be a draw. But ultimately, as you mentioned, Tom Holland excited about doing the roles he's doing. You have to be excited about what you're working on, why you're working on it. So we've already talked about Community. Community is a big element on trying to improve and boost and get people interested in the creative work. But as actors, directors, writers, whatever, what other things draw you to the project? Particularly, I mean, in the Midwest, yes, we have all the reasons we love this particular area, and besides the ease of not having to travel as much, which is just super. What is it that draws you to it? We part of the things you brought up was storytelling, and the story is such a big deal. I know, but community is going to be part of it. The story is going to be part of it. What is it, Rachel? What drew you to work on Submerged?
Exactly.
The people.
The people?
Yeah, absolutely. And just how different it was, and the creative aspects of, like, you know, everybody being together, and, you know, just I think the good people on set, and Demetrius has, I think he's done a really good job on bringing really good down to earth again people on set who know what they're doing, who are invested in it, who are excited about it. And I think that's really like what draws people into it, or people like that who are excited about what they're working on.
And that's very important too, because like most of the time when people support a project, it's really about the person more than the project. So if somebody knows who you are, like if I know you're a good person, I'm gonna support you. You know what I'm saying? I might, if it's something I don't like, I'll tell, like, close the door or something, like, I don't really agree, but I'm going to still support you because I wanted to see the best. And you know what I'm saying? So I think for us, filmmakers or whatever you do, music, anything, it's about showing who you are, because you are an important person. And people, most of the time, especially like our type of community, wants to know who you are.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you just like anybody else trying to make it or trying to do this. So why should I even care about what you're doing? Why should I even pay attention? So if you can show a little bit of you, your story, your background, it helps out a lot sometimes to get other people to back you up and do things to see you be successful.
Sure.
And I think going back to the marketing, one of the things that me as a filmmaker, I look at how Marvel and DC do their marketing.
Yes.
And I have days where I take out time to research marketing on whatever project we're doing, comic books, movies, action figures, games, all of that. So part of that, you tease enough so people know what's going on. Because if you show them everything, then they're not. Why do I want to keep coming back? I'm talking about Submerge and what we do. Why, because we're so inundated with so much stuff just thrown at us all the time. If we're constantly in their face with the same thing, then they'll tune out. Mm-hmm. So you tease them just enough, and then when you're about to hit it, then you give them everything, all the candy.
The knockout punch.
Yeah.
The knockout punch.
And so you watch Marvel, the way they do things. They give you enough. That's why some people, they're actually letting them post that stuff.
Yeah.
They are not. That ain't no
Yeah.
slip
Yeah,
up.
right.
That is a marketing move of let's let this slip. You can use your camera and you can use your, go ahead. All right,
Least
and they're
people
letting
want
it.
it more.
Yeah, the end game. That's why you've seen so much more on the end game. Is like this thing's pretty much done. We got this. We're gonna make this money.
Right.
Go ahead
and
and
it's
do
a 3-hour
this.
movie. So
Yeah.
they can show you 2 minutes in a 3-hour movie,
Yeah, I was
and
like,
they don't
go
care.
ahead, go ahead.
Right. Well, the same thing happened with the Star Wars teaser.
Shoot, Game of Thrones too.
When Rise of Skywalker,
Yeah.
I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
Yes, I am.
Boy, when
No
that
matter
teaser
what.
came out, I was like, this is 2 minutes of my life that I'm gonna consume every bit. I watched it on my TV. I'm not watching it on my phone.
Right.
I'm gonna see. I want it
Turn
all.
up the surround
I want
sound.
it all, baby.
And us as filmmakers got to ask ourselves, what gives us hype about them saying just those teasers? Like, what is about it that just the music, how they display, editing, the color grading, the location and things like. And we got to ask ourselves that too, as when we coming up with our own marketing tactics, our own things. As we don't have to copy what they doing, but we do want to show, hey, we professionals, so we gonna get y'all hyped up. Like, just to think about that. Like, what is it about when we look at films? What makes us that hype? So we can use that for our projects. Like, this is a little tactics. Because marketing is key, and I like marketing. It's one of my low things is marketing. So you do need people that can help with that and guide you. So
That's awesome. Something that we had touched on, and I think it kind of has something to do with the last few things that we were talking about. When I see specific actors that I know are, and this may not be this way everywhere, but I know that Indiana is a very different state than a lot of other states, and we hold a lot of loyalty with the people that are creative in this town.
yeah,
Brendan Fraser, for example.
yes,
Hollywood actor from Indiana. I kid you not, I don't care what he's in, I'm going to go see him.
yeah.
One, because I love him as an actor and as a person. He's just a silly guy, and he just looks like a neat dude to hang out with.
Yeah.
And two, because I'm going to support my own.
Yes.
Indiana, I love Indiana for everything it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be a little tribal.
Little.
But sometimes it's good because you're like, you look at that guy and you go, oh yeah, he's from Indy, right? Yeah, I'm definitely going to go and see that movie. You know what I mean? Or I definitely want to see more about what that project is. And I feel like, though it's probably not the mass majority of people, that is one thing that drives me as a consumer, is when I see. The reason I follow you guys on Facebook is because I know that you are trying to change the marketplace. You're trying to change the perspective of the people that are consuming these things. The reason I love doing some of the acting classes that we do with our improv coach, Peter, is because I get a chance to sit down with, Horace and Sarah and all these people that are active in the community and pick their brain. Yeah. Because even if it's something that I only ever do once or twice in my life, being able to see other people's pursuits and their victories and then their struggles and go, okay, if I do this, I know that I can learn from what this person has gone through. It is one thing that I've done several times when looking at the plays that I'm going to audition for. I'll talk to people that have worked with those directors. I'll talk to people that have done those shows before. I'll go, hey, what characters are in this that you feel like would be a good fit for me? I love to do that kind of research. And I feel like when you are visible to everyone around you, it gives people an opportunity to go, what's Demetrius working on next? What's Darrell working on next? What's the next show that Rachel is going to be at? And I don't have to worry about that with Jerry Beasley because that man posts 700 things a day on social media. But what I love about that, though, is he's making things visible. He is showing, hey, I'm going to be doing this, or, oh, cool, I just booked this thing on Batwoman. I get to go to New York and do this thing. And
stays present.
He does, very much so, and I love that. And I think that, Darrell, you're absolutely right when you talk about there's an element of marketing that we don't have yet that these bigger companies do, and it's awesome that people who are in the industry are paying attention to that because obviously, that's why they spend millions and billions of dollars on it. But two, you get an opportunity to reverse engineer that.
You're right. And that's what I was saying about Marvel and them looking at how they do that. But like what Darrell was saying is, tweaking it and kind of making it your own on some things. And sometimes you're outside the box. Nobody thought about making perfume oil based off of their,
And I think that's fantastic. Like just the idea of, whether you like the scent or not. If you would have said that to me and I had no context on it, I'd be like, what? I would have been so confused. But to see how that line was traced and then what it created, it's like, oh, wow, that's cool.
And that's, it goes back to transmedia, not only having your story, which is a super story, but having these other platforms and books and things that expand that universe. So somebody might not watch films, but they might read novels. So I have the novel. So that still brings them back to the film and whatever else they made. Or the comic book. Oh, I just read comic books. Oh, did you know it was an origin story in a movie? Oh, well, let me check that out on Amazon Prime and Roku and Japan. Let me check those out. So, that creating that transmedia is very important.
And that's why he's one of my mentors, because when I looked at, we kind of had the same mind as, we wanted something bigger than just a one-note project or something. Because a lot of times us filmmakers, we just do one project and that be it, or we move on to something else. What he's been doing it for years, and me just starting is a universe. Actually, we keep building, so you're going to see that name constantly. Like, what is this? And then eventually, with his stuff, like the toys, the poster, the DVDs, all that, you're going to eventually let me check this out. Or one of his outlets is going to eventually get to you or something like that where you're going to check it out instead of just one platform of, video. But he got so many, and he's steady building and networking with people where he submerged is going to be a bigger thing where people going to look back I
yours too. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? And it's growing, but that's what I'm just saying. Just like that, just inspiring. And it gets other filmmakers thinking about that. Maybe this could be bigger than something else, and that's why I want to help teach people too. Don't just think of a one film. Don't just do a little bit, do more for it, so you get your name and your team's name going on. You know what I mean? Because you got people behind that, so you want to push it even more to say this is something you need to see or you need to get involved with, instead of just it's just something we do for hobby.
You want to have people have the reaction that they do when they say, "Well, I've never seen a Star Wars movie." What? You know what I mean? Like
Right,
that's
right.
what you never seen a Submerge movie? Like you don't know about Paragenics? Are you freaking crazy?
Right,
like
right,
like these are what's present right
No,
now. Yeah.
and then they could be like, "Shoot, this is what hot, but you need to check this out because this
Right.
is what they doing something different
If
with
you
it."
like this, you'll definitely like that.
and you're right.
Absolutely.
Giving them a taste.
That's it. That's
You
it.
tired of
First
cliches?
taste is free.
Yeah, you tired of the cliches? This is what you wanted to do.
Right.
Oh man. Well, what I think that you guys were just touching on, I really love, and as somebody who, Joshy and I are big into tabletop role playing games.
Yeah.
We love being storytellers. We love telling other people's stories as well as creating our own.
Yes.
I think that's why I really gravitated towards a lot of what you guys are doing, a lot of the projects that you guys are working on, is because you are modern day storytellers.
Yeah.
Movies and shorts and web series, those are the modern day storybook.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I've also heard it say, and I agree, that to get better at what you love, you have to consume other people's ideas and art and make them, like you guys had said, make them your own.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've heard encouraged, like for somebody who's a dungeon master or a game master or something, is reading books or seeing media that captivates you with an idea, and then you take that idea and you turn it into your story. Mm-hmm. So my question for you is, going back and looking at young Darrell, young Rachel, young Demetrius, where do you feel like your creative juices started to get stirred up? Where did your geekdom kind of come from when it comes to the passions that you're following now?
I'd say for me, as far as like a makeup and like creative level, YouTube was the biggest thing.
Okay.
But it was kind of, I was about like 14, 15, and I feel
Sure.
like that was the time where YouTube was kind of starting to be this bigger thing and
Right.
a growing platform. And I started watching different makeup artists and body painters and different things like that. And I said, oh my God, like this is amazing. I had no idea you could do this for a living.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I started to follow other artists and get inspired by them and kind of looking at that and saying, okay, so I love this, but what can I do with it to make my own?
Sure.
And kind of went from there with a lot of my characters that I
So, quick follow-up question, Rachel. The kind of makeup that you like to watch on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
is it creature-style makeup? Is it like fashion makeup, things like that? Is it everyday stuff, or is it just kind of like
it's a little
the
bit of
buffet
everything.
of-
Yeah, I don't want to be a makeup artist who only does one certain thing. I don't
Sure.
want to just do bridal, and I don't want to just do special effects.
Okay.
I want to do bridal, special effects, body paint, and everything in between.
Cool.
To be a very, well-rounded artist who has
Holistic
experience.
artwork
Yeah,
in
and
the
who has
makeup
experience
genre.
in a little bit of everything, but as good it's good at a little bit of everything.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Demetrius.
I would say, growing up with Star Wars and Indiana Jones and things like that, and Stargate and
Yeah, man.
Farscape, those shows inspired me, and Battlestar Galactica. I always tell a story that
The new one or the old one?
Well, both.
Both, yeah.
But the old one, of course, because I'm a little. So anyway, to show the effect, I would say probably. I did a con in St. Louis, and the main crew, Richard Hatch, and all of them were there of Battlestar
That's
Galactica
cool.
80s. And came by the booth. He said, "You want to go out to dinner with us?" I was like, "Oh yeah!" And so I'm sitting there with all these creative people from Alien Nation and also
Oh, man.
Battlestar Galactica, and and they all turn to me and say, "Tell us about Submerge." And I'm just like, just think about that.
Yeah.
Whatever show you're into, the whole. Everybody says, "Come dinner with us."
We want to hear
Tell
about
us.
you.
We want
Yeah.
to hear
We want to
about
hear
you.
about you.
And so, being inspired by them and learning so much, from them. They were saying things that I heard before, but it was like, okay, that's the thing, surrounding yourself with people that know more than you.
Yes.
So all of that factored into when I started creating things. And the other thing was getting outside the box, going to Gen Con. That opened my eyes to everything else, because all I was into was right now, just watching sci-fi and stuff and saying, hey, look at those guys on TV dressed up. Then I got to Gen Con and my whole eyes were opened up, and it's like, okay.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's wild.
Storytelling even in cosplay, that's
Yeah.
a story.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have conversations with people that I work with. I work really close to the convention center in downtown Indianapolis, and of course during that August
Yeah.
weekend you get 60,000 unique attendees.
yeah.
And a lot of them are in different costumes. And even if they're not super extravagant or anything, obviously you can tell when somebody's in costume when somebody's in normal street clothes.
Right.
Because in the middle of August in Indiana, you're normally wearing cut-off jean shorts with a PBR in your back pocket, you know? So I love to talk to people who are like, oh, you go to Gen Con? Or, Gen Con, that just seems weird. And I'm like, first of all, you don't know how weird it is because you've never been. And second of all, it is a totally different environment than what it looks like from the outside.
Oh, yeah.
It is 60,000 people that are there enjoying the exact same passion.
Right.
Yep.
They may be doing it in different ways and having different expressions, but there's no difference between those people and half of the people in this office that can't get vacation time to go.
Right.
Like that's what what I mean.
Right,
That's,
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're coming from all over the world.
All over the world.
Brazil, England, all over the place.
Absolutely.
To right here to India.
Yeah. Darrell.
For myself, it all started when I was a kid. I remember like first grade just drawing my own comics, or used to draw like Dragon Ball Z comics
There you
and WWE comics, and I'm a huge fan. But just as a kid, I always had this imaginary mind. Like I remember in school, I used to just daydream about my own world or doing things. I remember having action figures, just create my own world while I used to play by myself and my friends wasn't over and stuff. So I just, as I got older as an adult, I remember people like, that's lame, that's nerdy, you don't want to do. So I was like, man, forget that. I'm a grown man, I'm gonna do what I want. So I just I put that into my work. Like any filmmaking I do, like superhero, I love superhero, DC and Marvel. And anything creative like that, I got inspired as my childhood. So I use my childhood as that motivation for me. But I want to have fun. I don't want to be miserable. I don't want to be like everybody else and just work a job and do this. All you want to do is negativity. So I use my childhood to be that inner happiness, peace, and
The inspiration.
creative.
to keep
Yeah,
creating,
you know what I'm saying? Because I think that's where our best work comes from, really. It's our childhood.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So I think we need to still tap into that no matter how older we get, because I think that's when your best work comes, because you're not so judgmental. You're not, you're more free. You're more, fluent with yourself. So I always use that as my backbone in my weapon when I'm creating anything, any story. And I use other people, like he was talking about, like you use other people like Star Wars, or I use, like I was saying, DC, Marvel, or I use any film that I watch in theater, and I pinpoint things I like about it, things I wouldn't do, and so it just, create my own world. And that's why I say I don't try to bash other people's work. Like I know, when it comes to that type of stuff, I just created my own self.
Sure.
If it's not equal, if it ain't no equal opportunities, why not just create it yourself?
Create your own. Yeah, absolutely.
And make it.
Absolutely.
And make it. It's like,
I 100% agree.
don't complain, just create it yourself. Why you can't do it? There's so many resources out here, you can do it, even if it's a lower scale or what, but you create it yourself and you can be happy with it because you can see the growth of it.
Yeah.
Instead of just complaining and waiting for somebody else to do something about what you want.
I feel like a lot of times too, and even myself especially, sometimes we get so focused on wanting to be at a certain point in our career and our personal lives where we kind of skip over, let's just start here.
Yeah.
Let's start here and build ourselves up and, kind of go through the process. And I think that's the most important thing is...
Yeah.
And that's something when I teach my seminars for filming, I try to let people know when they're starting out, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Right.
And because you see so many people that are famous, or there are people, there's another mentor I have, we talk about people that are closer to the shore. Some are still swimming, some are just, they're on floats and just going,
treading water, baby.
Right. But everybody, and some people are already on the beach, just trying to stay. So you have that. But the thing is, you just kind of put on your blinders in a sense and do your thing, and you'll get there.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll get there, and not to give up. And I think Rachel does that too when she teaches her classes on makeup.
Yeah.
And I really think, because I think people so focused on the end of it, like this, the end of the project, they don't understand what it took that. Like, people don't understand the back of, like, the stressfulness or how much you gotta sacrifice just to get to that point. And I think that's what we need to teach up on. The time you have to be broke, or you either living in a car, or you can't go out hanging out with your friends,
Right.
or you got so much stress things going on, and people don't see that. And they just think, oh, you just got it easy, or you just lucked up because you got some money.
Right.
But that's why I look up to billionaires, millionaires, because they tell, I was broke, I was poor, or, you know what I mean, I got divorced. And you tell all their stories, like, dang, I look at you different now.
Right.
Because that story is all about that journey. It's all about
Right.
the struggles make you into a better character. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because you appreciate things in life, because nothing is just handed to you. Nothing is owed to you. You gotta work hard, and sometimes you gotta work 10 times as hard as others. But you gotta do it. You can't just cry and nag and can you do this? Can't do it. No, you can do it. If you could breathe, talk, and all this other stuff, you can do whatever you want. You
Absolutely.
just gotta be around the right people
I agree.
and help build with that, and understand it's gonna take time.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think a couple of things come to mind as we're kind of wrapping up our episode. First of all, thank you guys so much. This
No
has been
problem.
So much fun.
This is
Thank
fun. I
you
want to do this
so
more.
Much fun.
I really do.
Absolutely. And we probably haven't said it often, but I'm going to say it, and this goes for anybody who's ever been on the show. You guys are always welcome
Yes.
to come and hang out with
I would
us
love to.
anytime you want.
I
Just
would.
drop us a message, and we would love to have you back on the mics. This has been so much fun. A couple of things just to wrap up. I think, what you guys were just talking about, the cliche phrase, but I think it directly applies to, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The goal is the 1,000 miles.
Absolutely.
Some people never make it.
Nope.
Some people do and go further. But as one of the members of our improv group said on Friday when we did our panel, we did a panel on Friday about improv. It was called Yes and We're Positively Mental, and it was an examination of improv and mental health and how they kind of can help each other and coincide with one another, which was great. Something that somebody said was, if you never begin, you can't fail. But if you never begin, you're not going to go anywhere.
Right.
Or something to that effect. And something that I further on, I was kind of talking to the ladies who hosted the panel. We were just kind of continuing on, and I said, the only guaranteed fail is to never start.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have an idea and you never go anywhere with it. Well, you have failed. If you have an idea and you try it and it doesn't work, it's okay. You haven't failed. You just figured out how to not do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thomas Edison. I didn't fail.
Right.
999 times or 99 times or whatever it was. I learned how to not do it that many
Right,
times.
right,
Yeah.
And then I found the one that worked.
Right.
And you were Darrell, you were talking about like millionaires and billionaires. They have idea after idea after idea, trial
Half
and error,
of them don't
trial and error, and most of them don't work.
Yeah.
And then they get that one that it's just the right time, the
Yeah.
right place,
Yeah.
the right audience.
Yes.
The
Exactly.
temperature is good for it to just go crazy.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's just like a project. Like it only takes
Absolutely.
one sometimes. It only
That's
take
it.
and somebody to see it. But like I
That's
like
it.
this idea. It don't have to be perfect, but this idea now we put something behind it. Now
That's
there's
it.
gonna be something, and that's how we just gotta look at it too in anything we do.
Hugh Jackman, one of my favorite actors. Hugh
Mm-hmm.
Jackman tells a funny story in his interviews about him getting into acting.
Yeah,
And a lot of people may not know this. His wife is a big name actor in Australia.
Right.
That's actually where they met. Was on she did soap opera, and they met on a soap opera. Fell in love, got married. He has a great voice, as we have heard in The Greatest Showman and Les Mis and things like that. But he tells a story about when he got his review for Les Mis, and people were surprised like how good his voice was. He actually got cast as Wolverine when he was on stage in Australia playing in Oklahoma. It was like, this guy has always been doing this.
yeah,
And he was waiting for that one break.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was for him. It was that
Exactly.
one break, and it turned in. I mean, he is Wolverine. We all know that.
yeah.
He is Wolverine.
Yeah.
And his wife told him to take the role too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we're wrapping up, real quick, around the table, what are you guys doing next? What's coming up for you? Where else can we find you? Where else can we see you? Go ahead, Rachel.
Well, as far as where you can find me, my name again is Rachel Madison. You can find me on Facebook at Rachel Madison Beauty, and the same on Instagram, Rachel Madison Beauty, or official Rachel Madison. I have 2 different Instagram accounts. But yeah, I think the biggest thing right now is kind of building a portfolio and getting together different projects and good, reliable people and good quality work to kind of build up a portfolio and
Cool.
to kind of take it to the next level for me. So,
Cool.
yeah.
All right, Demetrius.
Well, since Submerge is about dealing with multi-universes and alien experiments, we have Blue Star that's coming out this summer. And also our next thing is we're doing a comic book tour for Light. That's the first out of the Submerge Universe comics. So we're going to be doing that comic book tour, but next big thing is Gen Con. We're going to be showing Submerge Echo 51 there, and also we'll have a panel with our actors are going to be there, and we'll be talking about how to market your films and things like that.
Awesome.
And
that's at Gen Con.
Yeah, it's at Gen Con. And
I think you and I talked a little bit about Gen Con. I want to get a couple of your other actors too, if we can, at Gen Con as well. Like I would love to do that.
For sure. So we got about 6 more conventions that we're either appearing or speaking at, and them getting ready for the feature film.
Good. Darrell.
And right now, we are writing, me and my friend Kiana's writing Perigenics Season 2. We're working on another web series that's going to hopefully shoot next summer called Marked by Justice.
Okay.
And just right now, I know I just released my second issue to my comic called Virtual Viral Expedition that's out at royaltyvirtue.net that you can, follow me and things like that. Really, I'm just in a creative right now, working a part-time job, so I put most of my focus on creating things.
Good.
So if you follow me at Royalty Virtue, Instagram, Facebook, you can know more what we doing as a team, you know what I'm saying? So I really want to shout out my team because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be right here. And they help, each and every one of them help bring the dope projects that I'm working on. So I appreciate every single one of them.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
And you can find
go ahead.
Sorry, and you can find Submerge on dventertainmentpictures.com. And also, you can look it up on Amazon Prime and Roku in Japan.
That's right. So, first of all, thank you again. You guys are so much fun to hang out with and talk
Thank
to.
you.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome. Joshy, do you remember your established fact from the last episode 200?
I do, because we revisited episode 1's established fact of house rules allow you to cheat legally.
That's right.
And I modified it to house rules are the game genie for your game night.
And I believe my established fact was rules are meant to be bent, not broken, as long as they are fair and balanced, I believe, is that from episode 200. Please go back and listen to that if you get a chance. And for episode 201, I have established that sometimes creativity opens the door, and other times creativity gives you the tools to make your own. Thank you guys so much for being here on episode 201, and we will check you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Deuces.
Please visit us at www.theestablishedfacts.com and our Facebook page, facebook.com/theestablishedfacts. If you would like to support us by buying some merchandise, visit cafepress.com/castingrobot.
Bonus.